child, things are gonna get easier. They're going out on the town, doing anything just to get you off of my mind. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as light.
The 70s gave us wild chart battles, forgotten stars, and singers who blew fortunes overnight. From Venus to In the Summertime, these one-hit legends left shocking scandals. And wait till you hear the final bonus entry. It'll blow your mind. Number 50, Carl Carlton, Everlasting Love. 1974. A song older than Carlton himself becomes his only brush with stardom. Originally recorded in 1967 by Robert Knight, Everlasting Love found new fire in 1974 when Carlton's version stormed the charts, peaking at number 6 on Billboard. But why did success evaporate so quickly? Despite soulful delivery, his career stumbled in Motown's shadow, leaving him boxed into nostalgia shows. Did you know the track is one of the few songs to chart in the US across 4 decades? The story fades, but another trucker anthem waits ahead. Number 49, C.W. McCall, Convoy.
We got the front door, good buddy. Mercy sakes alive, looks like we got us a convoy.
1975. A song born from CB radio culture sparks a nationwide craze. Convoy, written by advertising executive turned singer Bill Fries, aka C.W. McCall, topped both pop and country charts in 1976. Why did a novelty trucking anthem sell over 2 million copies? Because America was obsessed with highway freedom and trucker rebellion. The song even inspired a 1978 Sam Peckinpah film. Yet McCall left fame behind to become mayor of Ouray, Colorado. Number 48, First Class, Beach Baby, 1974.
Do you remember back in old LA? Oh, when everybody drove a Chevrolet? Oh.
A group that barely existed scores a California anthem, recorded in rainy London. First Class, assembled by studio musicians, produced Beach Baby, a perfect slice of sunshine pop. It reached number 4 in the US, yet the band never truly toured. How could a band succeed without being real? Listeners swore it was America's answer to the Beach Boys, but the illusion quickly collapsed. Even so, the single still fills retro compilations. Number 47, Skylark, Wildflower, 1973.
She's faced the hardest times you could imagine.
One tender ballad breaks through Canada's radio silence. Skylark's Wildflower reached number 9 on Billboard, powered by its delicate blend of soul and rock. Did you know this group launched the career of David Foster, who later produced for Celine Dion and Whitney Houston? The song's lyrics, written by a Canadian prison guard, honored his wife's struggle with depression. Wildflower became an anthem of quiet resilience, yet Skylark disbanded soon after. From gentle blooms, we moved to sass and swagger in New Orleans funk. Number 46, Gene Knight, Mr. Big Stuff, 1971.
The big stuff. Who do you think you are? Mr. Big Stuff.
A playful challenge to macho men turns into a funk classic. Mr. Big Stuff hit number 2 on Billboard Hot 100 and sold over 2 million copies. Gene Knight's sharp delivery, backed by the Meters' funky groove, became Stax Records' biggest hit single. But why didn't she score another? Legal disputes and label mismanagement left Knight stranded. Still, the track survives through constant sampling, from Heavy D to Eazy-E. After calling out Mr. Big Stuff, we pivot to a group that demanded just a little more time. Number 45, Chairman of the Board, Give Me Just a Little More Time, 1970.
Give me just a little more time, and our love will surely grow.
One of Holland Dozier Holland's first post-Motown projects, this song exploded in 1970, selling over 1 million copies and climbing to number 3. Frontman General Johnson's raspy urgency made the track unforgettable, but despite their polished soul pop, the band never matched that chart success again. Why? Legal wrangling with Invictus Records and Motown's shadow stalled momentum. Still, the song resurfaces in commercials and films. Did you know Diana Ross was rumored to sing backup? Number 44, Vicki Lawrence, The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia, 1973.
He was on his way home from Candletop. Been 2 weeks gone and he thought he'd stop at where.
Best known as a comedian on The Carol Burnett Show, Vicki Lawrence shocked everyone with this Southern Gothic murder ballad. Written by her husband Bobby Russell, the song hit number 1 in 1973, despite radio stations banning it for its dark themes. The plot, wrongful conviction, betrayal, execution, felt more like a novel than a single. Yet Lawrence never repeated the feat, returning to TV fame instead. Did you know Reba McEntire revived it in 1991? Number 43, Bazooka, Dynamite, 1975. Tony Camillo, a Motown producer, cashed in on the disco craze with Dynamite, a funky instrumental inspired by Jimmy Walker's catchphrase from Good Times. The song blasted into the top 10 in 1975, selling nearly 1 million copies. But Bazooka wasn't a real band. It was Camillo's studio project created solely to ride a trend. Once the novelty faded, so did the name. How often does pop culture create such fleeting careers? Number 42, The Jaggers, The Rapper, 1970.
Hey girl, I bet you there's someone out to get.
Long before Donnie Iris hit solo success, he fronted the Jaggers, whose only smash, The Rapper, hit number 2 in 1970. Despite its title, the song wasn't hip-hop. It was about slick-talking men seducing women. Over 2 million copies sold, yet the group fizzled by mid-decade. Iris later returned in the 80s with Aaliyah, proving talent lingered. Isn't it strange how one career can fracture into 2 different legacies? Number 41, Duncan Brown, Journey, 1972.
Let's get up and go, no returning.
An English singer-songwriter admired by critics but overlooked by the masses, Brown scored his only chart hit with Journey in 1972. The song's delicate guitar work and introspective lyrics mirrored the progressive folk era. Though it cracked the UK top 30, American audiences barely noticed. Brown later composed for film and TV, quietly shaping soundtracks rather than stadiums. Did you know he co-founded the band Metro, which influenced Duran Duran? Fame escaped him, but influence rippled. And speaking of ripples, one soft rock anthem soon ruled the airwaves. Number 40, Player, Baby Come Back, 1977.
You're going out on the town, doing anything just to get you off of my mind.
Smooth, pleading, and polished, Baby Come Back topped Billboard in January 1978, making Player overnight sensations. The yacht rock anthem, co-written by Peter Beckett and J.C. Crowley, struck gold with its universal heartbreak theme. Over 1 million singles were sold, but subsequent releases fizzled as new waves stormed in. The irony? Beckett later toured with Little River Band, keeping the same silky style alive. Why does one perfect song survive when everything else vanishes? Number 39, Al Stewart, Year of the Cat, 1976.
On a morning from a Bogart movie, in a country where they turn back time.
Produced by Alan Parsons, this 6-minute soft rock epic soared to number 8 in the US in 1977. Stewart, a Scottish folk singer, blended cryptic lyrics with cinematic saxophone lines that became instantly iconic. The song's mystique made it a staple of FM radio, yet Stewart never repeated such mainstream success. Did you know the title came from Vietnamese astrology, not Chinese? It marked 1975 as Year of the Cat. One timeless melody lingered, but the charts demanded fresh flavors. Next, a South African cover band shocked Europe. Number 38, Clout, Substitute, 1978.
You've been waiting much too long now. It looks like she's not coming.
South Africa's all-female rock group stormed the UK top 10 with a cover of the Righteous Brothers' Substitute. Peaking at number 2, it made Clout the first South African band to gain such British exposure during apartheid, a fact that carried political weight. Their polished harmonies masked the country's cultural isolation. Why didn't they endure? Lineup shifts and controversy over performing abroad stalled their run. The song remains a cult gem on retro playlists. Number 37, Michael Martin Murphey, Wildfire, 1975.
She comes down from Yellow Mountain.
A haunting ballad about a girl, a horse, and tragic loss. Wildfire galloped into the US top 3 in 1975. Murphy, later dubbed the Singing Cowboy, sold over 2 million copies of the single. Its ethereal piano intro was even used by radio DJs to test sound systems. Though Murphy carved a niche in country music, Wildfire remains his sole pop breakthrough. Isn't it fascinating how one deeply personal ballad can echo for decades? Number 36, The Buoys, Timothy, 1971. Few songs dared to spark outrage like Timothy, a deceptively catchy tune about cannibalism after a mining accident. Written by Rupert Holmes, yes, the Escape Pina Colada song guy, it cracked the top 20 despite radio bans. Listeners were horrified yet intrigued, driving sales past 500,000 copies. The Buoys never matched that notoriety, but the scandal ensured immortality. Isn't it odd how controversy can sometimes be the best marketing tool? Number 35, Chicory Tip, Son of My Father, 1972.
We got a happy life run right. Off you go to school.
Armed with a Moog synthesizer, Chicory Tip's futuristic sound stormed UK charts in 1972, hitting number 1. Written by Giorgio Moroder, the track was one of the first mainstream pop songs to feature heavy synths, predicting the electronic revolution. Yet Chicory Tip fizzled fast, remembered mainly for this innovation. Moroder, of course, went on to define disco and electronic music with Donna Summer. Isn't it strange that the pioneers vanish while the producers behind them become legends? Number 34, Frida Payne, Band of Gold, 1970.
Band of gold, all that's left of the dreams I hold is a band of.
This bittersweet anthem hit number 3 on Billboard and went gold in both the US and UK. Behind its shimmering Motown-style polish, the lyrics hinted at marital breakdown and secrecy, sparking debates about hidden meanings. Rumors swirled that Payne herself disliked singing it live because of its ambiguity. With over 2 million copies sold, Band of Gold defined heartbreak for the decade. Why then did Payne struggle for another big hit? Number 33, The Raspberries, Go All the Way, 1972. Cleveland's Raspberries crashed through in 1972 with Eric Carmen's soaring vocals pushing Go All the Way to number 5. Radio censors nearly blocked it for its overt sexual themes, yet teenagers bought over 1 million copies. Carmen later thrived with All By Myself, but the Raspberries remained frozen as power pop pioneers with one unforgettable single. Isn't it ironic how censorship often fuels curiosity, driving more sales? Number 32, Stories, Brother Louie, 1973.
She was black as the night. Louis was white.
When Stories covered Hot Chocolate's UK hit Brother Louie, they sparked waves in America. The interracial love story told against parental disapproval shot to number 1 on Billboard in 1973. Critics hailed its boldness, but the band never followed it up. Singer Ian Lloyd faded into session work, while the track found new life decades later as the theme for Louis C.K.'s Louie. Isn't it fascinating how cultural taboos can make a song timeless? From social protest, we now move into the slick world of poker-faced betrayal. Number 31, Ace, How Long, 1975.
How long has this been going on?
Fronted by Paul Carrack, Ace struck gold with How Long, a silky soft rock tune that reached number 3 in America. Surprisingly, it wasn't about romantic heartbreak, it addressed a band member secretly moonlighting for another group. Carrack went on to sing with Mike and the Mechanics and Squeeze, yet Ace never cracked the charts again. Doesn't it sting when talent endures but the band fades? Number 30, Blue Swede, Hooked on a Feeling, 1974.
I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me.
With their unmistakable Ooga Chaka chant, Blue Swede turned a 1968 B.J. Thomas hit into a global sensation. Their version topped Billboard in 1974, selling over 1 million copies and later resurfacing in Guardian of the Galaxy's soundtrack. Yet the Swedish band collapsed within 2 years, victims of novelty's short shelf life. Isn't it wild how one quirky vocal hook can outlive an entire career? Number 29, Redbone, Come and Get Your Love, 1974. Formed by Native American brothers Pat and Lolly Vegas, Redbone blended funk, rock, and indigenous pride into Come and Get Your Love. The single hit number 5 in 1974, selling over 1 million copies. Its legacy exploded decades later through Guardians of the Galaxy 2014, making it one of Spotify's most streamed 1970s tracks. Yet fame was fleeting. Redbone faced industry prejudice and label neglect. Doesn't it feel tragic when cultural pioneers don't receive their due in their own era? Number 28, The 5 Stairsteps, Ooh Child, 1970.
Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier.
This Chicago family group earned the nickname the First Family of Soul before the Jackson 5 stole that crown. Ooh Child, with its soothing promise that things are gonna get easier, climbed to number 8 in 1970 and became a civil rights era anthem. Covered by dozens of artists and featured in Boys in the Hood, 1991, its endurance is unquestionable. But the Stairsteps disbanded soon after, struggling to keep momentum against Motown's machine. Why do hopeful anthems outlive their singer's fame? Number 27, Shocking Blue, Venus, 1970, US hit.
It got us on a mountain top, was burning like a silver flame.
Dutch rockers Shocking Blue unleashed Venus in 1969, but it wasn't until 1970 that America embraced it, sending it to #1 on Billboard. With Mariska Vere's commanding vocals, it sold millions worldwide and influenced countless female-fronted acts. Ironically, Shocking Blue never cracked US charts again, disbanding by 1974. Yet Venus found new life in Bananarama's 1986 cover, also topping charts. Isn't it curious how one song can create two entirely different eras of stardom? Number 26, Hot Butter, Popcorn, 1972. An instrumental made entirely on a Moog synthesizer shocked radio in 1972. Popcorn became the first electronic track to top charts internationally, reaching number 9 in the US and number 1 in multiple European countries. Stan Free, a studio musician, recorded it under the name Hot Butter, pioneering a sound that later shaped disco and techno. But the band itself didn't exist beyond the studio. Isn't it wild how machines sometimes outshine their creators? From quirky bleeps, the countdown now swings back to sunshine harmonies that captured fleeting summer romance. Number 25, Gallery, Nice to Be With You, 1972.
And it's so nice to hear you say you're gonna please me in every way.
Led by Detroit singer Jim Gold, Gallery struck gold with this breezy soft rock single, peaking at number 4 and selling over 1 million copies. Its sunny optimism landed them slots on American Bandstand and radio countdowns nationwide. Yet lightning didn't strike twice. The follow-ups flopped, and Gallery disbanded by 1974. Gold later worked in advertising while the song lived on in oldies stations. Doesn't it sting to peak so early and vanish? From sunny optimism, we now move toward a band whose single was literally built on teenage romance. Number 24, Alive and Kickin', Tighter, Tighter, 1970. Brooklyn teenagers barely out of high school cut Tighter, Tighter, a song gifted by Tommy James of the Shondells. Released in 1970, it climbed to number 7 on Billboard and sold nearly 1 million singles. Despite the momentum, their follow-ups fizzled, and the band disbanded by 1971. Isn't it telling how youth-driven hype can vanish in a heartbeat? The group later reunited for oldies tours, but the big time never returned. From fleeting teenage stardom, we now slide to moonlit grooves born in a dorm room. Number 23, King Harvest, Dancing in the Moonlight, 1972.
We get it almost every night when that moon gets big.
This carefree anthem was written by Sherman Kelly after surviving a brutal mugging in St. Croix. He imagined a world without violence. King Harvest's 1972 version turned that vision into a top 20 hit in the US. Its gentle rhythm became a college dorm staple, yet the band itself splintered shortly afterward. Decades later, it resurfaced in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and commercials, giving it new life. Doesn't it fascinate you how tragedy can seed joy? From Moonlight Dreams, we head to a sailor's tale that never left jukeboxes. Number 22, Looking Glass, Brandy, You're a Fine Girl, 1972.
There's a port on a western bay, and it serves 100 ships a day. Lonely.
Sailor bars across America echoed with Brandy, which hit number 1 in 1972. Written by Elliot Lurie, the ballad about unrequited love sold over 1 million copies and became a timeless jukebox favorite. Decades later, its royalties skyrocketed after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 reignited its popularity. Yet Looking Glass couldn't replicate that success, disbanding by 1974. Lurie pivoted to a career scoring films and TV. Isn't it ironic how one song can define a life? From Sailor's Heartbreak, we shift to delicate romance whispered in studio ballads. Number 21, Climax, Precious and Few, 1972.
And if I can't find my way back home, hit you.
This tender ballad was actually recorded in 1970 but delayed 2 years by label disputes. When finally released, it soared to number 3 in 1972 and sold nearly 1 million copies. Lead singer Sonny Garachi's falsetto made it unforgettable, yet Climax disbanded soon after, plagued by lawsuits and poor promotion. Garachi resurfaced in 1980's oldies tours, always tied to this one haunting track. Isn't it haunting how paperwork can stall destiny? From delayed ballads, the countdown dives into a cosmic anthem built on fuzz guitars and gospel swagger. Number 20, Norman Greenbaum, Spirit in the Sky, 1970. Written in just 15 minutes, Spirit in the Sky fused fuzz guitar with gospel choirs and became a spiritual rock anthem. It reached number 3 on Billboard, selling over 2 million copies. Greenbaum, the son of Jewish immigrants, ironically wrote it after watching Porter Wagoner sing gospel on TV. Despite massive success, his follow-ups failed. Decades later, royalties soared thanks to over 30 film features from Apollo 13 to Guardians of the Galaxy. Isn't it strange how one accidental hymn outlasts its maker? From cosmic riffs, we race into brass-fueled horsepower. Number 19, The Ides of March, Vehicle, 1970. A brass-heavy rock powerhouse, Vehicle stormed to number 2 in 1970 and sold over 1 million copies. Jim Paterick, only 19, wrote it about a girlfriend who used him for rides. Ironically, she became his wife later. Despite the hit, the band faded, though Paterick resurfaced as co-founder of Survivor, penning Eye of the Tiger. Isn't it fascinating how destiny hides in unlikely corners? From muscle car riffs and horn blasts, we veer into disco waters that launched a whole new craze. Number 18, Hughes Corporation, Rock the Boat, 1974.
So I'd like to know when you got the notion. Said I'd like to know when.
Often called the first true disco hit, Rock the Boat reached number 1 on Billboard in 1974, selling 2 million copies worldwide. Recorded in just 2 takes, it helped ignite disco's domination years before Saturday Night Fever. Yet the Hughes Corporation never charted that high again. The group's name, a playful pun on billionaire Howard Hughes, confused audiences but stuck. Isn't it wild how one accidental experiment can launch an entire genre? From dance floors, we now drift into a ballad so sentimental it topped charts and weddings alike. Number 17, Debbie Boone, You Light Up My Life, 1977.
Nights I'd sit by my window.
This ballad shattered records, staying at number 1 for 10 weeks, longer than any single of the 1970s. Selling over 4 million copies, it even won Boone the Grammy for Best New Artist. But scandal lurked. The song was originally recorded for a film sung by Casey Sissick, not Boone. Producer Joseph Brooks insisted Boone record it for mainstream release. She never repeated that chart dominance. Doesn't it sting when your biggest hit carries someone else's voice in the shadows? From polished ballads, we lurch into smoky rebellion in high school bathrooms. Number 16, Brownsville Station, Smokin' in the Boys' Room, 1973. A mischievous ode to teenage rebellion, this track hit number 3 in 1973 and sold over 1 million singles. Lead singer Cub Koda captured the energy of kids sneaking cigarettes in school bathrooms, making it an instant anthem. A decade later, Motley Crue revived it, pushing it back onto MTV. But Brownsville Station themselves never topped charts again, fading into cult status. Isn't it funny how rebellion sells twice? From smoke-filled bathrooms, we now march into glittery pop that promised eternal fun but burned out fast. Number 15, Silver, Wham Bam Shangalang, 1976.
Sunny days, I always thought that love should be that way. Then comes a time that
A breezy slice of bubblegum pop, Wham Bam Shangalang hit number 16 in 1976 and earned gold certification. The song's writers included Brent Midland, who later joined the Grateful Dead, a stunning contrast from sugary pop to psychedelic jam bands. Silver's label pushed them as California's next big thing, but sales dropped sharply after this one hit. Isn't it strange how future legends hide inside forgotten one-hit groups? From sweet hooks, we now land in the arms of a Canadian singer whose ballad carried whispers of loss. Number 14, Andy Kim, Rock Me Gently, 1974.
You're so warm and tender, Lord, I feel such sweet surrender.
After co-writing the Archies' Sugar Sugar, Andy Kim reinvented himself with Rock Me Gently. Released independently after labels turned him down, the single shocked the industry by climbing to number 1 in 1974 and selling over 3 million copies. Yet his follow-ups barely cracked the top 100. Kim later resurfaced in the 2000s writing for Bare Naked Ladies. Isn't it striking how gatekeepers nearly buried a classic? From quiet defiance, we now stumble into streaking madness that briefly consumed American pop culture. Number 13, Ray Stevens, The Streak, 1974.
Did you see what happened?
Yeah, I did. I was just standing over there by the tomatoes, and here he comes.
Streaking, running naked in public, swept America in the early 70s, and Stevens captured it in novelty gold. The Streak raced to number 1 in 1974, selling 5 million copies worldwide. Its humor caught the zeitgeist so perfectly that even President Nixon mentioned streaking scandals. Stevens thrived as a comedic songwriter, but never again matched this global phenomenon. Isn't it wild how absurd trends can top charts? From Streaking Fields, we now climb to one of the most notorious duets about love and sandwiches in Daylight. Number 12, Starland Vocal Band, Afternoon Delight, 1976.
Gonna find my baby, gonna hold her tight, gonna grab some afternoon delight.
A playful ode to midday lovemaking, Afternoon Delight stunned radio by reaching number 1 in 1976 and winning 2 Grammys. Critics slammed it as kitsch, yet it sold over 1 million copies. The band, founded by Bill Danoff, who also co-wrote Take Me Home Country Roads, never charted again. Decades later, Anchorman turned it into comedy gold. Isn't it curious how irony revives old hits? From cheeky daylight romance, the countdown accelerates into a darker rock groove about speed, danger, and lost direction. Number 11, Sniff in the Tears, Driver's Seat, 1978. This driving anthem captured late-night freedom and cracked the US top 20 in 1979. British band Sniff and the Tears poured months of studio polish into it, but no follow-up hit ever stuck. Strangely, the song roared back in 1991 after appearing in a European car commercial, reviving royalties. Isn't it fascinating how advertising can resurrect careers? From neon highways, we now steer into Southern blues, where heartbreak met unexpected stardom. Number 10. Elvin Bishop, Fooled Around and Fell in Love, 1976. Though Bishop was a respected blues guitarist, his biggest hit came with vocalist Mickey Thomas on lead. Fooled Around and Fell in Love peaked at number 3 in 1976, selling over 1 million copies and later featured in Guardians of the Galaxy. Bishop admitted, "I knew my singing wasn't right for it." Thomas went on to front Jefferson Starship, while Bishop faded from mainstream memory. Isn't it ironic when the frontman's song is remembered for someone else's voice? From borrowed vocals, we slide into shimmering soft rock seduction. Number 9. Walter Egan, Magnet and Steel, 1978.
Now I told you so, you ought to know.
Backed by Fleetwood Mac's Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks, Walter Egan's Magnet and Steel shimmered with California Cool. It hit number 8 in 1978, riding the crest of soft rock radio. Yet despite the heavyweight support, Egan couldn't replicate the success. The song's ethereal harmonies became a cult favorite, later featured in Boogie Nights and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Isn't it strange how fame can hinge on one song despite superstar backing? From Magnetic Pull, the story now pivots to bubblegum heartbreak wrapped in wartime controversy. Number 8. Bo Donaldson and the Haywoods, Billy Don't Be a Hero, 1974.
The marching band came down along Main Street. The soldier blues fell in behind.
Borrowed from UK band Paper Lace, Billy Don't Be a Hero soared to number 1 in the US in 1974. It sold over 3 million copies, though critics dismissed it as saccharine anti-war pop. The Haywoods soon vanished as trends shifted. Ironically, Paper Lace released the same song in Britain, making both versions international curiosities. Isn't it fascinating how two groups can battle over the same hit? From tragic soldier tales, the countdown spins into the futuristic beat that redefined radio in 1979. Number 7. M. Pop Music, 1979.
Pop music, pop music.
Radio video. Boogie with
With robotic vocals and disco beats, pop music was one of the earliest songs to fully embrace the synthesizer age. Written by Robin Scott under the name M, it topped Billboard in 1979 and influenced the entire synth-pop movement. Despite global success, Scott never charted again. Madonna later sampled it in 2000, proving its enduring pulse. Isn't it incredible how one song can predict the sound of an entire decade? From futuristic rhythms, we now descend into a farewell ballad that made millions cry worldwide. Number 6. Terry Jacks, Seasons in the Sun, 1974.
There we had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the hill.
Adapted from Jacques Brel's French original, this melancholy ballad stayed at number 1 for 3 weeks in 1974, selling over 14 million copies globally. Its themes of death and regret struck listeners deeply, though critics panned it as overly sentimental. Jacks retreated from fame, turning to environmental activism in Canada. Isn't it haunting when the world embraces sadness at such scale? From Sorrowful Goodbyes, we switch to Neon Rebellion as a Canadian rocker briefly owned America's airwaves. Number 5, Nick Gilder, Hot Child in the City, 1978.
Danger in the shape of something wild.
A cautionary tale about teenage runaways in Hollywood, Hot Child in the City climbed to number 1 in 1978, selling over 1 million singles. Canadian singer Nick Gilder, formerly of glam band Sweeney Todd, wrote it after witnessing street life's darker corners. The song won a Juno Award but sparked controversy for its subject matter. Gilder's follow-ups never repeated its success, though the track remained a staple of late 70s FM radio. Isn't it chilling when glitter hides real danger? From Neon Shadows, the countdown moves toward a pop tragedy set in Chicago's streets. Number 4, Paper Lace, The Night Chicago Died, 1974.
When the town of Chicago died, and they talk about it still.
An English band writing about American gangsters sounds unlikely, yet Paper Lace struck gold. Their tale of shootouts between Al Capone's men and Chicago police hit number 1 in 1974, selling over 3 million copies. Ironically, Chicago newspapers mocked the inaccuracies. No such battle ever happened. Still, the drama captured the public's imagination. Isn't it curious how myth can outsell fact? After fictional crime scenes, the countdown shifts to real teenage obsession that rattled rock radio in 1979. Number 3, The Knack, My Sharona, 1979. Written about 17-year-old Sharona Alperin, this power pop anthem stormed to number 1 for 6 weeks in 1979, selling 5 million singles worldwide. The Knack became overnight sensations, dubbed the New Beatles, yet backlash came fast. Critics called them exploitative and their sophomore album tanked. Sharona herself later became a successful real estate agent in Los Angeles, forever tied to the song. Isn't it wild how obsession can fuel both success and destruction? From teenage muses, we now leap into a British band who claimed magic but vanished quickly. Number 2, Pilot, Magic, 1974.
Ho, 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 it's magic, you know.
Soaring harmonies and sparkling production pushed Magic to number 5 in the US in 1975. Written by David Patton, a former member of the Bay City Rollers, the song became a staple of AM radio and TV commercials. Despite critical praise, Pilot's follow-up singles barely registered, and the band disbanded by the late 70s. The track, however, endures in films like Herbie Fully Loaded. Isn't it strange how songs live on long after the bands fade? From Magic Illusions, the countdown ends with a kung fu kick that nobody saw coming. Number 1, Carl Douglas, Kung Fu Fighting, 1974.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as
A studio filler track recorded in just 2 takes became one of the decade's biggest surprises. Kung Fu Fighting shot to number 1 in 1974, selling over 11 million copies worldwide. Douglas captured the martial arts craze sparked by Bruce Lee films, turning it into a disco novelty. Despite global success, Douglas never charted again, leaving him forever defined by one playful anthem. Isn't it extraordinary how the cheapest, fastest recording of the session became immortal? And with that, the forgotten wonders of the 70s leave us stunned. Thanks for watching this deep dive into 1970s one-hit wonders. If you love the scandals and surprises, don't stop here. Hit like, smash subscribe, and check out our next video. There's always another shocking story waiting for you.